Hello folks, it's Aaronet114 here, and today we have a video on the Xbox One original. So I got this Xbox One from a trade on Marketplace here in St. John. I powered it on, tested it, and it works. Let's see. Why is it always never easy to figure out stuff? So we have a Xbox from 2014. So she is almost 10 years old. And we have all 4 feet. I traded this console in for a S9 Plus in pristine condition. And you got some junk here, but all in all, some scratches here. All in all, pretty good condition. Dusty a bit. So this is going to be a tear down and modification video. I've been working on the PS3 Slim video, and it's just a mess to sort out, so I can't sit around and try to motivate myself to go on, but I'll sort this stuff out on the ship when I go away. But yeah, anyways, we got a teardown video, and of course I have no clue how to tear this stuff down, so I'm gonna poke and prod and make my way through the stuff. I'm gonna try to do a speed run on here. So is there any screws in here? You know what? Let me get this done here. Oh yeah. It's got a bulge here too, by the way. Not for me. I haven't even been in here yet. So let's see what the dealio is. I don't think I'm gonna do this. It's not, I don't know what's going on. Obviously, I have no clue what I'm doing. But I am going to continue on my endeavor of going into the unknown, tearing down and modding consoles. stuff. Right here, 45 here. Oh. What is it? Here's a nightmare. Yeah, actually. See you. So, we'll do it. Oh, halfway there. So, okay, sorry. Here. Yesterday's tech on their YouTube channel because I'm not sure how to get in here. So yeah, this is quite the teardown. So. Not sure what's going on in here. quite interesting with this teardown. I cheated a bit, so it is what it is. So I'm trying to figure out which is the best rear attack. How can I customize this console? And I don't have to use my fingers on that. Outside. So I'm thinking of like green fan thing, RGB lights on here. I'm thinking that's what I'm thinking. RGB lights. Fresh thermal pads. It's in this console, on the fan, also on the sides of the console. So it'll be pretty cool looking when it's all said and done. Fresh thermal pads. So these are the long screws that go to the bottom of the case. Hold that bottom plastic shell in. So these are the long screws that go to the bottom of the case. So in general impression of looking at this inside of this console, it's not bad. It's not super dusty, and there's lots of potential for this console to look great and super new and stuff. There's lots of possibilities with this console, and I'm gonna polish this and paint this side. I'm not sure what color it's gonna be painted, but repaint it something. And this would be a big window here. How can I help you? What's up? Right now? I gotta shit down my stuff right now. More ribbon. I do have a vacuum cleaner. Yeah. Sure. Yep. Sounds good. Yep. Sure. Yeah. So right now we're in the last screw here. This is the X clamp. I don't know why they couldn't put a power supply in here. There's lots of ample room in here, like. And we're on the second last screw here. And now we're on the last screw. If you pay attention to the top and the sides on the right hand side, top left hand side and the right hand bottom side, you see the screws. Those two are there are for the power supply, for the power input for the 12 volts, and also your 5-volt rails. I'm trying, but I didn't take out the USB and also that piece there for the Wi-Fi data board connector. So if you have to, you see in the right hand corner there's a screw on that white piece there. Take the screw out. On this case, I'm going to put the screw back on that support and just jiggle it, and it should come free. That's right. Scrub that. Holy holy! What's going on here? Why do we have so much water damage? So crazy. So right now I'm trying to take the calcium deposits off the bottom of the Xbox One motherboard, or the main board, and I'm using a Dremel with a nylon bristle brush But since I use this so extensively on a higher RPM, it's practically melted to one blob. So it's not really effective, and you need a new brush. And it seems like most of the consoles I buy from the St. John area, the Quispamsis area, Roxasay area is like always has this water damage on the main board. Not sure what they do. I'm not sure if they store their consoles in a damp, dark location in the basement or just have poor ventilation in their house. I'm not sure which the one it is, but it's really consistent here from the Xbox One X I bought to this console. And there's a pattern I've been noticing on these systems. Like, I haven't seen this on a PlayStation. There's some kind of chemical compound that tracks the calcium composites here on the Xbox. So let's release the X clamps. I'm not going to bother talking more about this because this is future Aaron here recording the audio, and I get sidetracked and I start doing something else. So here we go. Yeah, I'm going to polish this piece. It's just a front plate, and this is for the Xbox One, and we're going to take this headlight restoration kit and put it to good use with this faceplate for the Xbox One. So yeah, and generally you do multiple passes at low speed to help take away, like, you're taking out how you polish this is you're scratching away minute material from the front in an even surface. So you're slowly wearing that plastic that you're polishing into a smooth finish. And if you have heavy to extreme scratches, you have to use sandpaper. Maybe start off at 220, maybe 120, and work your way up to 1,000 grit, then polish. Depending on what your situation is the steps you go, and make sure you're polishing like I am. Have a firm grip, or else your piece will come flying off and hit either the wall, your monitor, someone in the head, who knows. And as you see, it's starting to look a lot better already. It's just like the PlayStation's 3 launch models, resin black, with all that shiny resin black plastic. It's the same thing. Also with the PS4 launch models with that resin black hard drive cover, same thing. It's a scratch magnet. Like, it's very easy to scratch this. You can scratch this plastic with just by handling it. If you streak your finger across it, you scratched it. To manufacture this is very They did a good job on cost effectiveness for the cheapest materials for the most aesthetic look. And if you're polishing your plastics like I am, don't keep your polishing pad in one area moving around. If you put too much pressure, that's going to make heat. And if you have too much heat in one area, it's going to melt it. And once you start melting it, you got to take sandpaper, sand it down, get it down to a nice even surface. And you're going to have to start off with 120 and work your way to 1,000, then polish. So a good thing is to always keep your polishing head moving around the surface of the area you're polishing. That's why I'm going back and forth, because I've been there and I've done that. I've actually done that on my car headlights. Nah, just one of them, but yeah. So when you're polishing plastics, always keep your polishing head moving, including with paints or anything like that. Always check the temperature of your surface that you're polishing so it's not getting too hot from the friction. So off camera, I'm washing this down with isopropyl alcohol after I washed it with the water. So to reverse the vent here, we gotta drill it out. So yeah, we're all over the place. I'm gonna quickly undo this X clamp. There you go. Not bad. I'll go with the scrub brush and scrub this side down pretty good. And rinse this guy off really well. But we're gonna eject the fan from the housing. So when you're working with 10-year-old plastics, always take your time. Don't over stress the plastics or it will snap. So just take your time. I'm using a slim pry tool to slip under there and release it from its catch on the heatsink. And this is working pretty good for me. Okay, back to taking off the grill off the top of the Xbox One original. So it's not the easiest. If I would have watched a video, which I should have, which I never did, I would have just used a Dremel with the sanding head and just sanded off the plastic welds on top. But I did, because I wanted the full experience of going into the unknown of this project. So I used a drill gun. Looking back on it, I should have just used the Dremel with the sanding head. Because the risk of the drill going through the top plastic and through the grill is pretty high. Once it catches and you're not constantly like on top of it, it will drill through. It will drill through the plastics. No problems. No questions. There'd just be a hole and you'd be like, oh, what happened? So now I get this brilliant idea to use the Dremel. Here we go. Look at that. It really made time go pretty fast on there. Hey, it's Aaronet114 here, and welcome back to day 2 on this Xbox original restoration / modification. And off camera I did clean up the motherboard, or the main board here. Got most of this board damage off here, but I can use another scrubbing. Not bad, a little bit of corrosion on here. So inside components here. Which will be in spray today. So off camera, I did decide to what the window design is going to be like. So let me start moving stuff out of the way here. So this will be the cutout right here, from here to here around the screw, and 45 across down here, and we will have this guy exposed and open too. So this will sit here like this. Curious with a bezel that's going to be on here. It's going to be 1 inch from the inside and 1 inch from here. And across it's going to be 6 and 11/16 from the right hand to the left hand side, and the same thing will be over here. And this point here is going to be 6, 7, and 7 and E. 7 3/8. And I did clean up the heat sink yesterday too, so that's clean, done, ready to go. I'm not sure. I might put LED lights under here in some way so the reflection shines through the fan. And the fan is clean too already. Off camera, of course. So, fan is good to go. It's not a high speed fan, it's just a low speed fan. Just to evacuate the hot air. I'm gonna paint the fan lime green like usual. And after painting this fan lime green, I will put LEDs inside. I'll put LEDs inside here, so it reflects the light too. I'm gonna have some of this counter way to get more trippy effect. Yeah. Or make it gray again. So we're gonna add an inch. We need less than an inch. We're gonna get 7/8 here. If you're asking why 7/8, so you don't see an ugly bezel there. You just see the disk drive. We're gonna go with the lesser of the 7/8 marks. Go right up to here. There we go. I will make this a sealed unit, so I will add an 1/8. This will be painted lime green. Bezel looks a little small, so we're gonna add a little more meat on here. Of course not. There we go. There we go. So this is a blue ray drive made by Philips. And it's gonna be my first time looking inside here. There is a game in here. No, I ejected it, so there should be no game in here. So we're gonna try not to peel off this crap. So this is for Blu-ray. Okay. So the bottom, top, I'm not sure which one comes off first, or bottom off. Bottom comes off, lovely. Pretty clean inside here. I don't want to fully disassemble this, but it's looking like I have to. There's no screws poking out on any of the sides here, so this just has to release. There you go. Now you can see it just drive, spin up, spin down. Like, yeah. Yeah. Get this a little weight down when I install it back again. Like, I'm so tempted to just separate this plastic. Anyways, I'll be back with some painter's tape. So the plan is to just mask this area up because it will be sprayed. Like, it's so easy to scratch this plastic. I like gave it a really good polish yesterday. I don't know. Still have to polish the end here. Has to get polished. So yeah. There is a. Make sure I cover up this contact point here so nothing gets messed up. Hopefully it's not too much of a pain to take off. There we go. Hey! Rosa. Hey, Rosa. Hey, Rosa! It's elastic banded. Once she gets a hold of her elastic band, it's pretty much. So right now we're painting up the plastics, and also there's a shiny off-tail dark chrome piece that we're going to cover up on the disk drive and also the sync button. So when I do spray this, it won't get any paint on it or any overspray on it. Prep work is very important on this project. It's very sensitive, so if you prep your parts right, everything should turn out great. And if you don't prep your stuff properly, you will have so much issues. Overspray where you don't want it. So take your time. make sure you prep your pieces properly. Because the key to success is planning and preparing, and if you don't plan and prepare, you're going to fail miserably. You're going to fail horribly. So take it from experience. I've been there, done that. So that's why I'm always taking my time on these steps, so I don't have overspray, don't have paint where it shouldn't be. Just take your time and everything will turn out amazingly well. So the next step here is to work on the grill. We're going to put this in reversed so you can see the LEDs on the fan. And the next step here is to take off those plastic welds that are sticking out so you can get a flush sitting grill. So we're back here with the Dremel, and this really makes a mess, and not really liking it. This is making too much of a mess. This is another way. and I will fire these guys downstairs. So right now you're watching me file down all the burrs and making sure that the cuts are as straight as possible. So right now I'm filing down the excess material to the lines I had inscribed on the metal with a pen, and it's very time consuming, monotonous work. Unfortunately, there's no other way around it. It's got to get done. It's one of those things. Well, it's the unpleasantries of doing this project. And what I mean unpleasantries is when you're filing metal, it's sharp, and sometimes you get metal slivers, which is not cool. See, I have a really good vacuum that gets all this crap out of the carpet, so I'm not really worried about the stuff going in the carpet. When you're filing, it's really important to make sure the corners get squared up pretty good. And after you're done, you gotta straighten out the frame, because after you're holding it and filing there like a madman, she's always bent up. So afterwards, you don't see me doing this, but off camera I do straighten out the frame. So it's so big that I am using the sanding wheel on the Dremel to help get this more refined faster. There's many techniques you can do to do this more efficiently, but I find when you're using a sanding wheel, it's more better that way. And plastic on the top is the same way. Sand it until it's straight and also it lines up with the metal piece. Make sure your lines are straight and square. Make sure you get all those plastic burrs out. And make sure your corners are sharp and true. See, it's not as simple as like cutting this stuff out and saying, yeah, here it is, all done. So that tool that's sitting by my knees is called a multi-purpose tool. It can cut, it can sand, multiple uses for this tool. I love it. One of the best investments I made was a multi-purpose tool. So right now you see me doing the filing on a 45-degree angle. I'm making a 45-degree bevel on this 1/8 thick plastic, so it looks more aesthetically pleasing on the finished product. So I'm cutting up all the notches for the acrylic plexiglass, so this will sit there more flush and smoothly and no complications. Then I'll go back with the Dremel and smooth it out as best as possible. And just working on a 45-degree bevel. Because if you just have it straight cut like that, it's going to look ugly, out of place, like it doesn't belong. I find with a 45-degree bevel, it looks like it's meant to be there. So right now you're watching me de-emblem the top of the Xbox. My plan is to reattach this after it's done. And guys, if you're soldering inside like I am, always take proper precautions.
Nice. Together.
as you see what happens when you don't take proper fire precautions, and I should know better because I do have some training in firefighting, and stupidity at its finest. Not proud of this. I obviously know better, but shit happens. Well, I shouldn't have been working with paper towel, which is highly flammable on open flame. Then you have the polyester carpet on the bottom there, which is really easy to ignite, and it's not the best. So here we are on the main board. Me hitting the main board underside for the final time with a toothbrush. It's my wife's toothbrush. I always steal her toothbrushes and I use them. So right now we're going to wire up the USB on here. I'm going to divert power away from the USB so we can steal it for the LEDs. And we're going to use back here. There's no reason why, I just feel like it. Or quick access is right here, so let's do this one. So I'll go back and get my soldering iron and start soldering the wire on. Get some flux on here. We're going to go this one and this one. So generally, the solder on your motherboards or any consumer electronics you buy is lead-free solder, and the solder I'm using is leaded solder. Leaded solder has a lower melting point than lead-free solder, so that's why you see me adding solder to the points first to help mix it and make it more easier to melt it, and then adding on these wires to it after. And in saying this, that I'm recording this after the project is done up to a certain point, I am not happy with the outcome of using the USB power. I may switch it over to the Xbox One light that lights up when the console turns on, but I'll have to do more diagnosis and more testing of that when I get home, because right now, as of recording this audio on the ship, I am not home. So you see me putting capped on tape after I successfully wired up the wires to the USB port. This is to make sure they don't tear out. And you see me actively gluing down the wires to the board so they don't shift or move around. And I put tape on top of there so they don't shift off of the point I want the glue to. You do not have to do this. This is what I do. I don't expect you to follow exactly how I do things, but you're welcome to. The good thing about using super glue is you can melt it off. If you apply heat with a soldering iron, it will just melt away. So retrieval of these wires can be done safely without wrecking the board or pulling off traces. And yes, I do reuse the same tape because it's still good. It's just used it for gluing down stuff, and why not? So now is the chore of figuring how did I put this on, how did it come off, and the consensus is it came off that way. So right now you see me applying thermal paste, and the thermal paste is MX Arctic 4. I apply it onto the APU, and I put the heatsink on top, and it gives you a nice contact area. I know there's no issues with that. I haven't had any issues by doing that. And I do tweak the X clamp before I put it back on, make sure I get some extra pressure pushing against that main board, applying that pressure to the heatsink. And here you go, you're looking at the RF shield that's nicely freshly painted lime green. I do have to say it looks really sharp and it pops. Now with the 4 screws installed for the X clamp, that heatsink is now mounting down the motherboard to the RF shielding, and I don't have to worry about the heatsink and the board falling out of this RF shield. And over here I have the fan. I did not paint it lime green because it's not going to be visible through the grill that much. So for better reflectivity of the light, I went with white. I did have to do a few coats on here to make sure it's fully painted properly, and this doesn't hurt the fan at all. So beforehand I did check on the clearance of the blade and the clearance between the blade and the LED itself, and I have 1 mil to play with, which is lots. So you're watching me wrap this strip around the light, and because I removed the sticky adhesive paper, it's really not that great to work with. And now you see at the point where we're going to cut this wire and solder it onto the traces. There's 4 copper traces, one supplies power, and the rest is a negative pull. So different LED lights have different traces. So this one is power, then on the selected path it provides a ground to complete this circuit. Other strips of LED lights is you have a negative ground and 4 positives to complete this circuit. So this one's the most common one, is the one I have right now. So this light source I got from Home Depot, $11 a while back, and I pulled off the sealed gel on there. So I would have that 1 mil clearance. I do have a proper soldering station, but it's in the downstairs workshop, or to be exact, it's in the downstairs Harry Potter workshop. The reason why I say it's a Harry Potter workshop because it's under the stairs. There we go, 4 traces soldered on. I'm going to organize this into a nice neat line, put some super glue to lock it in place. I'm sorry if my head's in the way a bunch. I have a really bad camera setup. So you see me apply the super glue, that's going to lock those wires in place so they won't pull off if I pull on them. And I'm putting some capped on tape to protect it from who knows what. Just to protect it from anything that could happen. So last little struggle is to get that strip in place. Now I can cut off the excess with a pair of scissors. I do leave a bit of excess wire on here because, you know, sometimes you gotta open up your console, you gotta move stuff around, take things apart, and I want to make it more the most friendly, repairable mod as possible. And that includes making sure the wires are nice and neat and organized. And right now you're watching me make my own little wire harness. So I did successfully glue down those wires to the outside of the fan housing. And I did put some tape there just to, you know, keep it from pulling off. I tell you, keeping these wires organized and taping them up so they're not moving around is pretty hard. Lots of trials and errors here. Now we have the Xbox fan all done up. We can put it on the heatsink for its final resting place. I freely spin the blades, they spin. We're gonna put the disk drive back in its case. And like I said before, this will be a sealed unit again. So we'll be putting a piece of plexiglass on top to help keep the dust out. And there you go. I do have to say that it's a lot easier to get access to your disk drive with the Xbox lineup than the PlayStation one. So off the side there, you see me wiring up the LED controller, and I do believe this one is from Amazon one I bought, and it's defective, so we'll be switching it out later on in the video. You'll find out later on too, as I wire it up and we go through the LED flashing phase of the controller. So these are full RGB strips installed. It means it flashes. It should have blue, red, and green. So I'm just getting the Xbox mock ready for a mock startup to make sure we have power. To make sure we have power to the wires, and also the LEDs in the fan are fully functional. So right now you're watching me take apart the hard drive caddy, and I'm dusting it off camera frame. So I'm sorry you can't see that, but that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm reattaching it. I did get a hard drive with this Xbox, so I got a Gears of War controller, and I got a 1 terabyte hard drive, which I will be tearing that down and installing it on this Xbox. So right now I'm trying to get a good connection on a positive and negative to the LEDs. So right now you see me sanding down the enamel coated wire, and if all the LEDs are correctly wired up, you should see like a white tail light come from these LED lights. That means that that bluish tail means the blue, the red, and the green is all working at the same time. So I unplugged it because I didn't hook up the control board for the front, but I didn't know that until I started on the wire. So here we are. We're going to put the plexiglass on the disk drive. I just traced it out, and off camera I'm cutting it out with the multi-purpose tool. I ran out of the Dremel zip cut wheels. Annoying, and I went to Home Depot and bought the wrong one, so
Probably going to have to order the right ones off of Amazon or just get a whole new kit. Not sure. So after toiling for hours on end, no, I'm just joking, for 5 minutes, finally cut it out. We're gonna put the super glue on there, but it seems to me that this one is almost empty, so I'll step away again from the camera to grab a new super glue. It's always a good thing to have extra stock on hand, I find. And here we go. Oh, not quite. Just gotta. There we go. Take your time when putting super glue on. You don't want to get it on your hand or your clothes, or especially your in-law buys you a beautiful sweater. Don't want to get it on that either. So after that's done, we're gonna hook up this fan to the control board for the LED driver. So this LED driver is a Bluetooth. You can tell because it has a antenna printed into the board. So that's cool. And once again, I am sorry that my big head is in the way. I promise next video I make will have a better camera and a better camera setup to keep my big head out of the shots. Now that is done, we can plug it in and we get the green and blue flashing, which is something obviously is wrong with this LED driver. It's not my soldering, it's the driver itself. I double check it by trying different things, but it's just the LED board is defective. Now as we see, we got the red and blue. Now we got the red and green again. So there's something defective on this board. So I'm just going to desolder this one off and put a new one on from AliExpress. So this is the newer one from AliExpress. It looks exactly the same, but not messed up. So we have the green, red, blue flashing. So that means this control unit for the LED driver is working correctly, and I'm going to go on my phone and set it up for a 7-color fade in. So now you see me going through the settings on the Bluetooth controller. There we go. That's what it's going to look like when it's running. So, unfortunately, since I've already put the disc inside the disk drive, I have to hook up the whole Xbox to turn it on. Just some last minute gluing down of the wire. I'm just gonna wrap this control unit in some Kapton tape so it doesn't short out at any other components that's exposed. Because there is 12 volt rails on here and 5 volt rails, and I don't want to bridge a 12 volt to a 5 volt across the USB and fry the south bridge on here. And we are going to install some LED lights over this window opening underneath the RF shielding here. So I painted the bottom, the underside over here white and the top lime green. The white will reflect the light much better and not absorb it as much as the green on the inside or just the raw tin either. So and you have to be mindful not to block any of the screws on here, because then you're asking for a whole lot of trouble when it comes time to installing it fully back on. You're gonna have a screw blocked by your LED strip, and you don't want that. See, I have to pick off this film on here to make a 45-degree turn on here. There we go. We can make that 45-degree turn, and we can cut off the excess right there. No, I'm gonna actually do a 90-degree turn, and actually I'm gonna put this onto that contact so it has a complete circuit. Just like that. Right now you see me soldering the bridges together, and it passes. It's not pretty, but it works. So you watch me rub off the enamel with the soldering iron so you get a good connection to the solder. Then I go ahead with the X-Acto knife and on a 45-degree angle pull up just before the solder connection to the copper strip there trace, and I start my next piece. And there we go. It's fully soldered up LED strip. I was going to use this LED connection gap strip connector, but you know, it just didn't look right and it looked like a pain in the ass to modify to what I wanted to use it for, so I didn't go with it. You can say maybe laziness. Yeah, laziness could be the case on this one, but you know, it is what it is. And now I'm just going to put some LED strips on the sides of the Xbox One original, so the LED light can shine through the vent holes onto the outside. And this is purely for aesthetic looks. There's no actual functionality to this except for the annoying RGB light poking out the sides of your Xbox. I'm not personally going to show you how to mod your Xbox with the Microsoft license key, but you can. There's other YouTube videos on that. Personally, it doesn't really do you any justice to do that to your Xbox, because if you really want to play that game on something, just buy the console and play it on an actual machine. That way you get the best results during gameplay. And again, you're watching me build these little wire harnesses for connecting up different LED strips to the LED controller module. And just, I have to say, they are a pain in the butt to make, but it works out so nicely and is so easy to manage after it's done. Yes, you see it's quite a long wire because I do have to allow for the top of this console coming off. Note to myself, mute this audio, it's ignoring. It's annoying. So right now we're rinsing and repeating the same steps here on the right hand side of the Xbox to the left hand side of the Xbox. So right now we're just fixing up all the bugs here on this wiring job here, so, and we're going to be taping it up, so I did screw up that contact. I did screw up those traces on the end there, so I'm going to do the middle ones so I can connect the side of the LED strips to the LED controller module. Now we're just using Kapton tape to make sure the wires don't move around on the setup. And we're putting power to this unit pretty shortly. Security. And here we go, it's fully functional. So I'm going to show you a preview what this should look like. And like I said before, I'm going to try to hook up the LED controller to the white light that lights up the Xbox logo on the front panel to steal power from there. If it has 5 volts on that white LED light, I will steal 5 volts from that to power the LEDs in the console. This may result in having a dimmer light on the logo. Then again, I won't really care because I probably will put a LED strip right there too, just to have the Xbox logo doing the RBG. And here we go. Here's a video of the Xbox One original all put together, but not fully put together, because when I get home there will be some...
It's not done yet, but it's on its way.
There will be some touch-ups and maybe some revisions to how this console works. So, thank you for watching this video, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And thank you for watching, if I haven't said that already. And I may paint the sides on the Xbox green. I'm not sure yet. Maybe it's too much, maybe not enough. Not quite sure. Anyways, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.